Today, we experiment to see how many Maus tanks does it take to win against a battleship. On one side, the Maus is known to be one of the biggest and heaviest tanks in history developed during World War II, consisting of 188 tons of weight surrounded with 200 to 232 millimeters of armor, carrying a massive 128 millimeter cannon. On the other, our participants choose the battleships they wish to test that once ruled the seas with their mini 280 to 380 millimeter guns. What will the outcome be? Today, we find out. In the first match, our participants voted to test 17 Maus tanks versus one battleship, being the HMS Marlborough. This ship was a warship that served in the Royal Navy and launched in 1914. The battleship was armed with a main battery consisting of 10 13.5-inch guns, arranged in 5 turrets capable of penetrating up to 600 millimeters of armor, about 1,000 meters away, or 3,200 feet. The second match will do some rebalancing to find out how many battleships the max amount of Maus tanks our participants had are capable of taking on. Let's see how round 1 goes as each side lines up. Battleship gets into position as the countdown to open fire begins. Has around 200 to 300 millimeters of side armor while it sits 1,100 meters away. At this range, a Maus can pen around 250 millimeters of armor, and I was surprised at how many times the battleship didn't actually penetrate a Maus at this close of range. Some participants in the Maus are seen focusing their fire on the turrets of the 13.5-inch guns, with some doing no damage, while others are seen having some success destroying these weapons and having to go under repair. The first Maus being destroyed a minute and 25 seconds into the first match, with already something looking wrong with the bridge, but this officer doesn't seem to mind. In with the second Maus down, and it was crazy seeing the size of these holes the shells from the battleship would make. That's 3 at 2 minutes and 41 seconds in. In real life, I wouldn't be surprised if the amount of times a cement dock got hit that it would have collapsed, bringing all the Maus tanks down into the water, killing them all. Despite limitations around ship movement or rough seas, the 13.5-inch guns were considered accurate within their operational range. They had a maximum fire range of approximately 26,500 yards or 24,200 meters, and were capable of hitting targets with a good degree of accuracy within that range. So I'm not sure why misses are seen so close. And wow, what a view to have! Surprisingly only killing 4 Maus tanks before being sunk after 5.5 minutes. As mentioned, the 13.5-inch guns had a range of about 15 miles that would have allowed the ship to be out of reach of the Maus tanks' cannons that only have a maximum range of about 8 miles or about 13,000 meters. We now go into round 2, where our participants voted to try 3 battleships against 15 Maus tanks, being the USS Wyoming, Scharnhorst, and HMS Dreadnought. Let's see how this last round goes. The USS Wyoming is about 1,500 meters away this round, the Scharnhorst 3,000 meters, and the HMS Dreadnought is 3,500 meters. The participants in the battleships chose their distance, and I was curious to see if the effectiveness of the battleship at further range would be just as effective. The USS Wyoming has 562 millimeters of pen, the Scharnhorst at 578 millimeters, and the HMS Dreadnought at 493 millimeters. And being 1,000 meters away, much luck penning the side armor of the ships, most of the destruction came from what the shells were hitting above that and still had an effect on killing crew, destroying guns, and internals such as ammo elevators.
Just watching the view that the mouse players had on the dock was just frightening to say the least.
So far, there is a significant difference in effectiveness with the ships at different ranges. The USS Wyoming, being the closest, has about 9 kills, being 7 minutes in, while the HMS Dreadnought, being the farthest, only has 3. Not sure why the Scharnhorst has just gotten its first kill, being in the middle. Bringing the final score with no ship sunk, the USS Wyoming with 13 kills, the Scharnhorst with 1, and the HMS Dreadnought with 3 out of the 25. Hope you all enjoyed this vid, and thank you to all those that helped. You all stay cool and keep sailing or tanking.